Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Arknights Endfield, as I have finished the story up through wooling, as well as pretty much maxed out my factories as much as I can up to this point. It's just kind of an end game grind of doing side stuff, as well as more mini games and the factory. I think it'd be a great time to kind of give my overall review of the game, and what my thoughts are on it in its current state, as well as what I can see going into the future with the game. Now, I'm not a professional reviewer, and so I could be a little bit all over the place, but for those who have kind of seen what kind of games I like and don't like from the past games I've played, this might be a good video to help people decide on whether or not this might be a gacha game for them. And so we'll just go ahead and get right into it. My overall first impressions of the game has been really, really good. Now, I like the overall vibe of the game. I like the space atmosphere, the futuristic feel to it. And I've played a lot of games of like Factorio, and even Minecraft. I've done like the factory mod packs in that. And so really, really interested me. Now, I did get to play it in the original first beta, and I really liked it then. I was like, man, this game already feels like it's ready to go, other than a few minor tweaks. And they've just improved it over time since then. And the game has felt really good, really smooth. I've had no issues in this game at all, at least on the technical aspects. And so first impressions overall, really, really good in that aspect. Now, they did alleviate one of my original fears with this game, was I've played a lot of Factorio and stuff. I know how grindy those games can be in terms of, especially if you're a min-maxer like me, in terms of trying to like make the overall best factory. So you can kind of see here on what I have here. I feel like the blueprint system was the perfect thing to implement into this game, because one of the things I think what is going to detract a lot of people was the factory. As much as fun as it is, it's very important and core to this game. And if you just don't like that type of stuff, this was not going to be the gacha game for you. But with the blueprint systems, I think if you really like the overall game and everything else, but the factory maybe isn't your favorite part, once you get past that few first tutorial areas and kind of unlock stuff for it, you can use blueprints to kind of just push your way through without having to interact as much and think within this game. And that was like the biggest update. I know some people don't like it because they like the whole idea of building their own factory and working it out themselves, which you still can do. I mean, of course. I mean, the blueprints are coming from people that have built them in even more efficiency. But it does reduce the tediousness. Now, while I like Factorio, one of the problems is I play a lot of gacha games. And while they don't take up too much on a daily basis, when you're playing 4, 5, or 6 of them, that adds up really quick, especially when you work a lot of overtime on your job as well. And so with that, I've been able to min-max my bases here on like the original one here. Like it's just all oh, I'm at the end game. I've got all the technology unlocked. All right, let's just completely clear my entire factory of my base. And let's go look up some people that have the time in the world to make that super efficiency base, and just take that and build it onto mine. And so when you kind of look at what mine's doing now here, as you can see, this is like super efficient ones that other people have built online. And I just kind of cobble them together, getting everything you need, or everything I basically need at the end game here. And one nice thing too is if you like to build the factories yourself, and maybe you're not able to build it as efficiently, I'm getting everything I need on just this one alone. And I have a ton of open space. So even if you want to do it yourself and you're not going to be as super efficient, they give you plenty of space in the game to do it that way too. Don't worry about having to min-max it. So it's not as bad as you might think. Now, I do like that they're constantly improving on it. Just going to wooling, I can see how the factory is going to evolve going into the future. They're always going to add something new that overall changes it. They added like the fluid mechanics in wooling, for example. Now you have fluid water that you're bringing in, and then you're interacting with the water to make new products, which overall means you have to have a whole new chain set up. You can't just go from this factory to having a min-maxed factory in the next one. Those new mechanics basically force you to start from scratch to a certain extent. You can take things from this base and give yourself that early start, but all the new stuff on the new ones with the new mechanics kind of changes it. And that's probably how it's going to go every time we go to a new region. They'll introduce something new that will make it where you kind of start from scratch again. But it's not that bad, and the blueprints just make your life a heck of a lot easier if you just don't have the time to really mess with it. I will say one negative to it, and maybe it's not a negative because they give you plenty of space, is there's no way that you can really make the machines themselves more efficient. There's no way to speed up the belts or anything. That they're set speeds, and how you make it more efficient is if this thing needs a 3-to-1 ratio or a 2-to-3 ratio on items. That's what you have to do. You have to have 2 of one going in while 1 of the other, and now it'll be perfectly efficient so that you don't have them clogging up or any part of your chain kind of being inefficient in the sense that the final product's being made slowly. So like example, right now I'm building these batteries, and the goal is to always have enough coming in so that as soon as it finishes here, it pretty much can start a new one. As you can see here, there's a slight delay. So it's not perfectly efficient, and I might have something wrong in this factory. But the goal is to always have it basically ready to start again as soon as it finishes the first one. And it's not 100% necessary to be efficient, but you have plenty of space to do it. So overall, that's my thoughts on the factory system. It's really good, but if you don't want to have to bother with it, it's not like as mandatory because of the blueprint system. Blueprint system's super easy. You just going online and downloading ones that people have given you through importing them and then just copying and pasting in. So that's my thoughts on the factory. That's a lot of coverage on it, but it is, I think, a very important big piece of it. It's about 50% of the game, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to the combat overall, coming from other games, I've played Wuthering Waves, very little bit of Genshin Impact, but not much at all. Those are the kind of the main 2 gachas I've played. I think the combat's quite good in the game. I will say it's not at the level of Wuthering Waves, at least current state Wuthering Waves, but it's also feels really good right now with all the current operators you have. They're all very usable. I don't have all of the 6 stars at this point. I got Leviathan, and when it comes to the 6 stars, Ardelia, Ember, and then Leifane. Now, I just got him, so I haven't even messed with him yet. If you watch any of my other content, you know I play with the waifus the most. And so Leviathan's kind of my main here. I've been trying to get last right. Haven't pulled that luck yet. But I've tried out most of them at this point, and they all feel pretty good to play. And there's different ways you can play it. Now, I typically just stick on Leviathan and then use everybody else's skills, which seems to work at this point. Unlike Genshin Impact or something, where you're fighting this one character, oh, I need to have an elemental reaction, switch to the other one, and you switch the other person to do theirs, which it's not, I'm in the factory system right now. You switch to the other one, do theirs, oh, I need to put their thing. No, they're all fighting together with you at the same time. It's really cool having them all out and active, and they do interact with you to a certain extent. I don't really have anything here, but they will actually have like a little mark. Like if you're by a treasure chest or one of those other items you want, you will see like little things on them pop up. I probably cleared out pretty much everything here, but they'll have like a little mark, and you'll see them run over and show you where a chest is or where this thing is. And then it just feels overall good, but I can mainly just control her. Like I just control her most of the time when I fight enemies. And if I need to, usually the other one I'll switch to is her if I want to have a little bit more of a range, depending on the enemy and the difficulty. But I don't feel like I have to constantly swap around to get the skills. I just use their skills as they're available, but I don't actually switch out from her majority of the time. And it feels good. Now, if you like to switch around, you can. I can be using her for a little bit, switch to him, use him. Works just fine. It just depends on your playstyle there. But it's not as difficult at this point. To feel the need to be going crazy efficient. Now, I could see it getting more difficult in the future. It's a gacha game, of course. All these characters, at least the standards and the 5 and 4 stars, will get power crept. 4 stars, most likely, the earliest. But, I mean, that's why they give you pulls to try and pull on them. Now, that kind of brings up the gacha system in the game. I know this is the one that has the biggest controversy to it because the pity doesn't carry over. Now, the gacha system, I won't say it's bad. It's the gacha system. I think the problem is it's confusing for a lot of people. And once people understand it, they realize it's not that bad. When you look at the math, the statistics, now we're still trying to figure out the monthly income of the game. And that's going to be something that's going to take a little bit of time for people to do the math after we've had like a couple months to kind of see, outside of the awards we're getting for just the stuff, the one-time things, how much are we getting on a recurring basis to know like how many operators you're going to realistically be able to get over time. And if it matches like an income similar to something like a Hoyoverse game, so like Honkai Star Rail or Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves, we would expect maybe every 2 months to be able to get a guarantee. Now, this has a guarantee at 120 pulls, but it doesn't carry over. And then you have a pity at 80 to guarantee a 50-50 shot. And that one does roll over, but they don't, because of that, I think a lot of people get confused, and I think there'll be a big issue, especially when we have our first banner drop off, when it switches from her to Gilberta, where people that didn't truly understand it are going to be like, where did all my pity go? But once we get past that, the math for the polls is actually much better than the other games. And so I don't think it's that bad at all. And then the pity carryover for that 80, you just ignore it. That's the way I view it, is you just ignore that. It's right here. So I've already got 10 pity on that that'll carry over. But that's because of, I think I've done the couple free ones, pulls they've given on this after I've already pulled her. And so you just ignore this and just know that you're going to get 50-50s every so often. But if you have 120 pulls to guarantee the character, that's all that matters. Just save up 120 pulls, and that's when you can safely pull on them. If you get lucky and get them early through the 80 pity, well, good, you're done. And now you have pulls that you can save for the next character. That's as simple as it's going to be there. Mathematically, as long as the pull income is similar to other games, this game is going to give you more in the long term. And that kind of adds into the Arsenal exchange system here. Now, this one, we do have other ways we're getting currency other than pulls now. It's going to be another thing where we're going to have to see how well it goes through over the couple months, how much you're getting in. I find it's pretty nice that you can overall get the weapon. And they did, if you're a pay-to-win player, you can now pay, basically, to get your weapons. Which was a concern I actually had for spenders, in the fact that originally, if you could only get the currency through the characters, you had to whale on the characters to get the weapons if you were lucky, which was a big downside I had. If you got, like example, if you got her in a single 10 pull, and I got her in like 60 pulls, and if people, which is the same, people be in the same situation I am. I got her in 60 pulls. I was at the beginning of the game like, I want to pull for her weapon, but I don't have any currency. The only way I can get more currency currently is to either pay to win it with these, which I would never convert these if you spend money for these to the weapon pulls. Always convert them to the operator pulls. They're the better value. Just getting more operators is better than getting the weapons. But I don't have anything else to pull on. The standard banner, I'm not wasting my premium there. I'm slowly trickling them in. And so if you're very lucky, yes, good for you. You're lucky on the operator, but now you're not going to have the currency for the weapons. But it kind of seems like they've kind of introduced ways to kind of give you the ability to get the weapon even when you're lucky through other means. So we'll just have to see how that goes through time. But overall, I feel like it's pretty good having it integrated into the operator pulls. It's almost like a bonus. If you go all the way to full pity of 120 pulls, well, that sucked, but at least now you have a bunch more weapon pulls to get their weapon. It's kind of like a secondary pity on top of it. So that's kind of my thoughts on the gacha overall. Now, like I've already mentioned, the core gameplay loop for those the game, basically factory and combat, both of them are very important to the game. If you don't like one of them, this is definitely not going to be the game for you, other than if you can tolerate just dealing with the blueprints with that. Now, the progression and grinding in the game, if you've played any gachas, this one feels very different, but also very good. It doesn't feel like, just the initial playing through all the way through the story did not feel like a normal gacha. I did not get hard time gated in this game. If I was able to play 24 hours straight, I didn't have a job or anything, you could just play. There's no, oh, I'm stuck. Now, there are points where it says, hey, you can't continue the story until you're level 29 on your account, or level 34 on your operator account down here. But you had stuff to do to grind that out. You weren't stuck needing to save up, because they do have an energy system in here. And on these indexes here that you can do to burn this energy that you have up here. And these do give a crap ton of XP. But they have so much other content that gives XP in the game that's single use, that completely prevents you from being walled off where you can't play. Oh, you got to wait till you recover energy to continue. And that felt very, very good. always have something to do in the game. You can constantly grind. There's no sitting and waiting like you have with a lot of other gachas. I think the overall progression and grind in this game is very good. And even if you don't want to do that stuff, you can always work on your factory, for example, especially in that early game where you're really trying to just fine-tune it to get the couple things you need to upgrade the outposts. And kind of coming into that as well when it comes to all the different areas and leveling them up, and the other things tied to the map currency. I think it's just overall really, really fun. But and it's quite interactive. And there's no, I don't feel that pressure sometimes that you'll feel in other gachas where I'm rushing. Hey, I need to get to that end game immediately. I don't care. Skip the story, skip this, skip that. Get to the end game. I need to push, because that time gate. And so, if you're more casual in this game and just slowly working your way through the story, I don't feel like you're going to feel like you're falling behind. Yeah, my factory is a lot better right now. My factory in Wooling is currently operating and making stuff, something you won't have access to until you get there. But you're not going to be behind overall in the content of the game as a whole. They don't have anything. I think that's one of the things. They don't really have anything that you need to rush to at this point that you're really missing out on. I think right now the only thing you're really missing out on by being behind me is I can do the higher difficulty on this for my daily. And I can't even do 5 yet. But that's the only thing. You're going to be doing your level 1s or 2s to make sure you burn this energy before it caps out. Other than that, you're really not far behind at all in any sense of the matter. If you're somebody that cares about that when it comes to your gacha. And maybe the other thing you could say is if you really want, if you're free to play and you're wanting to pull Verlevitin, of course, if you follow my advice, you're saving up for that 120 pulls. And now I've already done a ton of my free pulls as well. But they do have plenty. You will end up with enough to guarantee her if you're playing. If you don't, that could be one of the negatives of falling behind. If you're being really casual, you might not get enough pulls to guarantee her, which in my case, I would tell you, don't pull until you have those 120. But on that, core gameplay in that feels pretty good. When it comes to technical type things and any bugs and all that, I've had none. This game has felt very good overall. I've had no issues at all. There's the one thing apparently it was a meme when I was streaming it with the guy taking the glasses off and he still had a pair on. For some reason, I thought it was a bug right off the bat, but everybody was like, no, they're memeing on you. I was like, oh, okay. That was like the only one thing I've seen out of this whole game. Now, I will say there is one thing that's probably not a bug, but I think they said they were going to get rid of it. But these little messages and just things that other players are placing in the world, they're in cutscenes. At least one of the big cutscenes was when well, I don't want to spoil it, but there's something that happens at the last boss in this area, and you're in a cutscene and you just see these messages in the background from like these things. And then the world can feel cluttered with them, and I don't see of any way, and I seen a message on Reddit, there's no way to turn this off or to get rid of these other than deleting them yourself, but they just keep coming back. And so for somebody that doesn't want all that interactivity from other people's stuff in their world, I would say that's kind of it. Right now it's intended by them. We'll have to see how they react because it is getting some negative feedback on people if they give us an option. I feel like that we should have an option to shut off that interactivity if we want, because it can be immersion breaking for some people in that aspect. But overall, when it comes to issues, like actual issues, I've had no bugs or anything. I know we had the PayPal issue right off the bat. That didn't impact me, but they were quick to try and recover from that. They shut it down. They're completely refunding all PayPal, which, I mean, is what you kind of expect in that situation. But then they're not letting it affect those people's accounts. So the people that did whale out kind of lucked out in that aspect from everything I read on it. So I think they handled the one major issue they had very well. And so we'll just have to see how it continues from this point forward. But yeah, it's been overall pretty good. And so kind of the last piece to us is how I kind of feel with this game going into the future. I can kind of see their vision with it. So right now the factory, because the factory is like 50% of the game. So we start off with kind of your basic factories here in the valley. You just have like your plants that you're growing infinitely that goes into something with the mining that makes a metal or whatever that then makes a material that makes your final product. and you're making that more and more efficient. Going into wooling, they've now introduced fluid mechanics, and that, while it doesn't completely start you from scratch, because there's certain things that you're going to still utilize going right off there, one of them being some of these plants, although they introduced new ones, they kind of give you a restart to an extent. You're starting from scratch again. Each individual area has their own currency, but I feel like if they can continuously add new mechanics every single area to kind of keep the factory system fresh for those that especially like the factory systems, I think it's going to be very, very good. The fluid mechanics are quite well. They work really nicely. And I feel like that's the direction I can see it going. One thing I would like to see them add is even in this area, or maybe if they just make it in wooling and in all future areas, is while you can build the factory efficiently through the scale, there's no way to improve the specific machines themselves. So I can't make things faster. I can't make the belts faster. I can't make the machine grind up the materials faster. You can only make it more efficient by just having more of the machine and having the timing of when things interact with other buildings being at a perfect time, so that as soon as one thing's done, it gets enough materials in to start it again. So like this case, I have this one almost perfectly efficient. Now this is from a blueprint, but it's like a second off, and then it goes again. So it's almost perfectly. Like, that's how you min-max it. I can't just tweak the belt for this to be a little bit faster to get this piece in there to prevent that 1 second. I could see that being something they add on a future area. That might be a requirement to a certain extent. So overall, I think the future of it is pretty good. I can see their vision. I think it's really good. We'll just have to see what they do with it on that aspect. When it comes to the operators, we've already met, if you've been to wooling, a lot of the future ones we're going to get outside the ones we know of coming out now. And their designs overall really good. And one of them, especially like the leader of wooling, looks like they'll be really, really cool. And so we'll just have to kind of see with it. I like everything I'm seeing overall, is kind of my opinion there. And so when it comes to this as an overall gacha, I mean, I would say this is a solid 8 out of 10 in my opinion. Very, very good. And I like that you have always something to do. I mean, one of the reasons I like Uma Musume is I feel like I always have something I can do in the game. Now, and this one, I feel like I can be casual though. Even though I always have something to do, I don't feel that pressure of needing to do it right now, like you will get in some gachas. Now, it does have its dailies. The dailies don't take long at all. I haven't done them, I think, yet today. But you can push through these fairly quickly if you need to, if you're playing multiple gachas. And that's a good thing. So this can be good as a dedicated gacha, or also just a side gacha that you're more casual with while you play a more dedicated one that takes a lot more time. Uma Musume being a good example of that. But yeah, that's my thoughts overall. I think I pretty much covered everything I wrote down here to talk about. Oh, one last thing I had on here when it comes to the gacha people talking about is regarding the free-to-play viability as well as pay-to-win and all that. I feel like right now, as it stands, it feels pretty good for free-to-play. Like, you don't need the specific characters. Factory system, of course, doesn't matter at all with your characters. So 50% of the game, the characters don't matter for really at all because they don't interact with the factory themselves in a sense that they're not buffing that. When it comes to combat, of course, Leviathan feels so much stronger than the others, but the others all work quite well. And now I have not done anything of the hardest difficulty yet in that sense. We'll have to see how that goes. It's a gacha game. They're all going to get power crept. It is what it is on that aspect. But if the pull income is like, as I said, it will be just fine. You'll get plenty of characters. And even though they don't introduce the character is not put in the standard pool like something like Uma Musume, they at least have the system where the last 2 or 3, or the last 2 will be in the current banner. So you will always have a chance at getting limited characters, even when you lose the 50-50. And it actually kind of makes it nice for free-to-plays, where since the last 2 are always in that banner for a lost 50-50 chance, as a free-to-play, if you're pulling every 3rd character, you're always having a shot at every single character in the game. So like right now when Gilberta comes out, you still have a chance of getting Leviathan. Same thing with I'm forgetting the other girl's name for some reason. They'll come out after her, but you'll have a chance, and she won't fall off until the one after that, and then they'll eventually have reruns as well. So not too bad in that aspect. And then also if you like dupes, which the dupes are decent in this game in the sense of what they give to your character. Nothing that I've seen that's game-breaking must-have for any of them. That could very well change. But it also gives you a chance for dupes. If you're able to get lucky and save up polls, to pull multiple banners in a row, you could lose 50-50 and get a dupe for one of your other limited characters that you already have. So it does actually give a way, while it's probably not going to happen very often, for you to get dupes of the limited characters as a free-to-play through that system. I would prefer them to all just get added to the standard banner, but this is the system we're going with. It's better than Hoyoverse and Wuthering Waves in that aspect, in that at least you can lose your 50-50s to limited banner units. Not going to happen too often because there's, 5 standard, and you're always going to have 3 limiteds in there, or 2 limiteds, so a 2 out of 5 chance to lose a 50-50 to them. But that basically makes your odds like a 70-30, 70% chance that you get a limited character versus 30 that you get a standard. So it is what it is on that. But yeah, that's just my overall thoughts and reviews on this game that I've played it through. I'm going to be continuing to play and maintain this game for the foreseeable future alongside the others that I play. It's fairly simple. And then I plan to make this more of a stream game. So whenever new patches and story comes out, or I just want to have a chill stream where I just play a game and we just chill and do some side content in it. Very good for that overall. Feels like there's always something to do. But yeah, that's it for now. And if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.